This is what Antarctic expeditions are all about, amazing wildlife encounters like this. Such a significant part of the Shackleton and the Endurance story happened right there, standing on the ocean. This is by far the most awe-inspiring wildlife encounter I've ever had. This is getting ridiculous now, these views. South Georgia, stop it. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd get to visit here. So rich with wildlife. That is Port Stanley of the Falkland Islands behind me. You've got to make a little extra effort to get to the good bits. Welcome to the Ocean Victory. I'm Saunders CB and I'm here with Swoop on an Antarctic expedition. And over the next 18 days, we'll be heading from Ushuaia, where we've just left, heading down the Beagle Channel towards the Drake Passage on our way to Antarctica. The first time I got to visit was a few years ago when I was on an expedition that searched for and located the shipwreck of Sir Ernest Shackleton's Endurance. This place is addictive to me. I love the wildlife, I love the landscape, I love the history, and we're here to bring you along with the journey. So let's get cracking. So we're up in the observation deck and I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk you through the route of this expedition. I've got a chart up here in the deck, so let's have a look at where we started, which is here, Ushuaia in the Beagle Channel. So we sailed out of there last night, had that beautiful sunset, and then we entered Drake Passage. It takes about 2 days and a good run to cross Drake Passage, and then we get to the Antarctic Peninsula, which is like a set of islands at the top side of the very west of Antarctica. And then once we do that, plan is we get to Elephant Island, such a significant part of the Shackleton story, before recreating a huge part of that story and taking the ship across the Southern Ocean to South Georgia, then heading over to the Falkland Islands before exploring that for a few days and then heading back to Ushuaia. The main caveat to have with that is a plan, but the beautiful thing about expeditions, which makes them different, there is no set itinerary. There's a plan that you try and follow, but you are at the whim of nature. And I personally love that about expedition travel, because it completely connects you with nature. You can see why this is such an inhospitable, remote part of the world and why we're very lucky to be able to explore it. The journey to Antarctica is full of firsts. The first time crossing the Drake Passage and seeing the first iceberg. There's going to be plenty of more of that to come, that's for sure. Spotting the first Antarctic wildlife of the voyage. Wow. And if things couldn't get better, we just spotted our first Antarctic whale. And seeing the white continent first come into view. So we've made it to the first location where we can get off the ship into the Zodiacs and explore Antarctica. I thought now would be a good time to talk you through what one might need to wear when leaving a ship and going into the conditions that Antarctica brings with it. So first of all, thermal. So I've got thermal bottoms on, a thermal top and a jumper on the top, nice warm socks as well. Then what I would usually do then on the bottom is put a pair of these on. So these are kind of like thermal salopettes. They're not waterproof, but they're kind of nicely insulated. I've got these fisherman type ones that go over the shoulders, a little bit of extra warmth around the stomach as well. Then you would finish by putting the waterproof trousers on. Now these are essential in Antarctica because of the spray off the ocean when you're in the Zodiacs getting you wet, and when you're wet, if it's not waterproof, you get cold even quicker. Also, sometimes when you do landings in the Zodiacs, the kind of small rib boat kind of things, you have to be able to step outside into the water. So you have your big boots on, but then if it was to be slightly deeper, you want to make sure you've got waterproof trousers on as well. So then on the top half, I've got my Shackleton jacket, which I use for all my expeditions. You do actually get a parka with the expedition when you get on board. There's one waiting for you. Then on the extremities, I sometimes double glove, and I might go really thin pair of gloves initially, and then kind of in more traditional winter ski gloves or mittens or whatever you got over the top of those. And then of course a beanie, because it gets cold and you want to make sure your head's nice and warm and your ears are nice and warm. And then crucially, once I've got all that on, it's about packing what I will bring on shore with me or on the Zodiac. Very, very important in Antarctica, binoculars. Do not come on expedition without access to a pair of binoculars. A game changer in spotting wildlife. On that thought, big camera lens for shooting wildlife at distances as well. This is a good one to have when you're going on a Zodiac cruise, because if you might not be getting really close to something, you can still get those lovely nice close-up detail shots and videos with a lens like that. Not essential, but if you are a content creator like myself, then it pays dividends. It's really bright in Antarctica, so having a little filter that can go on the end of your lens is really useful. Spare cards, then I have a water bottle on the side, and that's pretty much about it. Ready to go. Making our way down to the mud room. Voila, ready to go. It's the first chance of the expedition getting off the ship and doing a landing at this place called Palava Point. There is a colony of Chinstrap penguins here. The place gets its name because of the way they talk and the noise they make. They're having a palaver. Bit of a three-pronged approach for the expedition today. You've got us on land doing a landing, a bit of a hike. You've got some paddlers in the water kayaking, and then you've got a Zodiac cruise going on. It's a really cool place to be because just getting the chance to sit quietly and observe the Chinstrap penguins as they go about their business, see their behaviour. It's like being in a nature documentary in real life, and I love it.
It's a really interesting time of year. As we get towards the end of the summer season into the winter season, they're shedding their summer coat. Most of their day is just standing incredibly still, conserve energy until that new waterproof coat comes in ready for the winter. Imagine just being itchy all over as you're molting. They've got a little bit of grumpiness to them, and that is something that is very much a characteristic of Chinstrap penguins. They're slightly more, let's say, aggy or aggressive species of penguin, but at this time of year especially, extra grumpy.
Thanks. This morning we've woken up to fresh snow on deck. I mean, look at this scenery. This is what I love about this part of the world, is that every day it can look different, and you can visit the same places multiple times, but they'll always look different. There's always new things to appreciate. And then being in conditions like this where there's like a definite chill in the air in the morning, you know, you've got fresh snow, does kind of instantly connects you to the harshness of this environment, and then through that make you think about all the other people that have had to experience the harshness of this environment, all of the legendary polar explorers, all the history that comes with that. I mean, Antarctica is just a gift that keeps on giving. After appreciating this unique Antarctic landscape and environment from the ship, now it's time to explore from the water on a Zodiac cruise, amongst the icebergs and brash ice of Charcot Bay, which gets its name from the 1900s French explorer and scientist.
unforgettable experience being amongst the ice and the wildlife. And there's more to come as we spend the next 4 days exploring different locations along the Antarctic Peninsula.
This is a big one. This is continental. This is setting foot on the mainland, the continent of Antarctica for the first time on this expedition.
Welcome to Portal Point, the most beautiful place in the world today. And congratulations to all of you, because you are about to set foot on the continent of Antarctica. So, well done.
A lot of the places that you visit on these expeditions on the peninsula are islands, the South Shetland Islands or islands on the peninsula, but this is mainland Antarctica, officially setting foot on the 7th continent. The reason this place gets its name, Portal Point, is because it was the portal for a lot of expeditions, British especially, which would start here and then head inland, and we're now following in those footsteps. That's the best part about these expeditions, you're following history basically. So good. This is definitely the best view I think I've ever seen in Antarctica. Just look around, you've got a frozen ocean of icebergs here, you've got snow-capped mountains, just full 360, unbelievable view. This is just absolutely breathtaking.
The next location to explore is Tower Island, an area not often visited by expeditions due to its exposed position, and it didn't disappoint. Multiple penguin and seal species living side by side, surrounded by incredible landscape. One of our favourite wildlife encounters so far, so much personality on show, a dream for a videographer like me.
This is an incredible place to do a landing on expedition. It's called Bluff. There's 2 colonies on this little stretch of coastline, which is actually on the continent of Antarctica. You've got an Adelie penguin colony on one side of the island and a Gentoo colony on this side. So interesting because of the wildlife here, but also the geological history, because it is the site of a volcanic eruption a long time ago. It took millions of years, but there's evidence of that eruption still today. Within the expedition team, there's a lot of different disciplines and expertise. So that's what really sets apart small ship expedition travel to anything similar, is that access to real-time knowledge whilst you're experiencing wildlife, geology, landscape. It's amazing. Let me show you a really unique feature of this ship, is that you can open up the edge of it and get an amazing view out to sea or over to the ice. Ah, look at this. Love it! Come and look at this. This is super exciting. We have found some pack ice and we've just had an announcement on the tannoy. Our activity for the afternoon is an ice landing, going onto the ice floe ourselves and feeling it under our feet. Amazing.
Good afternoon and welcome to a random piece of sea ice floating on the Antarctic Ocean.
This is a real privilege. To be able to walk on sea ice that feels like real land covered in snow is unbelievably fortunate. A credit to the expedition crew for getting us here. You can actually see the ship on the water over there. We're still on the water, we're just on floating thick sea ice. It's a really cool experience to be able to do. It sort of reminds me again of how expeditions like this allow you to get closer to the history, to sort of get a little snapshot of the conditions and the feeling underfoot of what people like Shackleton and Nordenskjöld and Scott and Amundsen and all those great polar explorers would have felt walking on sea ice like this and having this Antarctic experience. Very, very lucky indeed. Standing on the ocean. Little expedition team photo shoot here going on the sea ice. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
A great way to close the Antarctic Peninsula part of our voyage, but there's one more thing left to do before we leave the icy waters.
So excuse the outfit, but it is polar plunge time. So it's a really fun part of all expeditions in Antarctica where you get the opportunity to jump in the water that's below 0 degrees. Don't know why you want to do it, but it is so much fun. It's exhilarating, and everyone gets involved. It's so good. Let's join the queue. I think we're up first. Our group got called first just by pure chance. Thank you. So as part of all expeditions, there's a whole education and enrichment side where you learn a lot about the places you're going and the things that you're seeing, but also the history as well. And one of the reasons that I'm on board this particular ship is to talk about an experience I had searching for Shackleton's Endurance shipwreck about 3 years ago. So I'm just about to do a presentation for the guests on board about the process of finding the shipwreck and documenting it. But first, I need to let everyone know. Good afternoon, expeditioners. This is Saunders, and a friendly reminder that I'll be doing my presentation on the search for and discovery of Shackleton's Endurance shipwreck in the lecture theatre in just about 10 minutes. Right, presentation time. In the same ice as Shackleton. I don't even know how that's possible. So a bit of an update on our location. We've left the Antarctic Peninsula and we're now heading to South Georgia, the second of 3 legs of this expedition, but we are stopping on the way at Elephant Island, a super significant place in polar history, and a huge part of the Shackleton and Endurance survival story, a place where many of the Endurance crew survived for almost 5 months. It's so fortunate to be able to go there because it's not a given on expeditions. It can be incredibly difficult to even get close to. We're actually coming along the coast of it right now, and we've had our brains refreshed of that remarkable survival story thanks to Benji, the onboard historian on the expedition team, who's just given a great lecture. The plan is, fingers crossed, in a couple hours is to get as close as possible to Point Wild, which is a very significant part of that Shackleton Endurance story, and I'm really, really excited to get amongst it and kind of live in the footsteps and walk in the footsteps of such an amazing survival story. I tell you what, the expedition team and the captain have not disappointed because they have made what seems like the impossible possible by getting us so close to Point Wild on Elephant Island. Such a significant part of the Shackleton and the Endurance story happened right there. So time to leave Point Wild and Elephant Island in the background as we head towards South Georgia. And what's very cool is we are continuing that recreation of the Endurance story by doing an ocean crossing from Port Wild to South Georgia. This is by far the most awe-inspiring wildlife encounter I've ever had. This is getting ridiculous now, these views. South Georgia, stop it. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd get to visit here.
Everywhere you look, so rich with wildlife. That is Port Stanley of the Falkland Islands behind me. You've got to make a little extra effort to get to the good bits.